evening and welcome to Vibrant Hong Kong. I'm Mishi.
And I'm Erica. Good evening, everyone.
Erica, now that we're a month and a half into year 2025, are you staying on track with your New Year's resolutions?
So far, so good. One of my goals this year is to be more adventurous and try more new things, just like how Hong Kong is constantly innovating, evolving, and integrating.
On the subject of innovation and integration, I know that a local university has established a school of interdisciplinary mathematics. Building on the foundations of traditional mathematics, it hopes to open up new frontiers and facilitate further INT development.
Interdisciplinary mathematics not only enhances research in applied mathematics, but also promotes cross-disciplinary collaboration and integration. Its application has already been observed in the fields of science, business, medicine, and engineering. Biomathematics, for example, uses data mining and mathematical projections to understand the growth and change of living entities, including bacteria. Meanwhile, genetic codes and diseases are also studied through mathematical biology.
In the digital era, research in this area is being used to establish a mathematical foundation for AI algorithms, making it easier to achieve breakthroughs in innovation and driving the development of disruptive technologies. Let's learn about the concept of this new school together.
At the Chinese New Year media gathering recently held by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, newly appointed Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Dennis Low, outlined the university's future plans in his address. One of the key announcements was the launch of the G.E.M. School of Interdisciplinary Mathematical Sciences.
3、2、1，啟動。
The school has been founded as an initiative by internationally renowned Chinese mathematician and Fields Medal winner, Professor Yao Xingtong, who will serve as its founding director. He looks forward to seeing the school nurture outstanding talent who will come up with new breakthroughs in cross-discipline applications of mathematical sciences. This aligns with the aspiration to develop Hong Kong into an international education as well as INT hub.
學院嘅成立加強咗留學香港品牌嘅吸引力，亦都通過全方位匯聚世界各地嘅優秀數理人才嚟香港升學同埋研究。
30, 40, 50 years ago, Hong Kong has produced many accomplished scholars. We are trying to bring the level and the quality of our students to be world class.
I believe actually if we have a group of such talents in Hong Kong, this will be a very powerful nucleus to build other things. It's not just mathematics. It also will have things like artificial intelligence, deep learning, etc.
The school hopes to give students ample time to focus on mathematics and applied fields for conducting innovative research.
We are trying to promote technology development and innovation. Then you need to do something new, machine learning and data analytics and even though AI. And all this, they need strong mathematics background. So with some students, if their background in mathematics is strong, they will be able to make some original contribution and have some breakthrough in some specific problem.
The school offers an 8-year bachelor and PhD degree program. The first cohort of students will begin their studies in September 2025.
In December last year, the Hong Kong-China men's representative team secured 3 consecutive wins on home turf at the EAFF E1 Football Championship Preliminary Competition 2024. Their 5-0 victory over Guam in the finale of the qualifying round has earned them a place in the EAFF E1 Finals, which will take place in South Korea this July.
With its first football league established nearly 120 years ago, our city is home to one of the oldest professional football competitions in Asia. Philip Chan, Hong Kong Footballer of the Year, and Nicholas Benavides, who made his international debut last year, are here to talk to us about one of Hong Kong's favorite sports. Welcome to our show.
Hi. Hi, welcome both. Now let's start with the final of the EAFF E1 Football Championship preliminary round, in which both of you scored goals. Were you expecting to advance to the finals in South Korea all along? And what was the atmosphere like with the home crowd cheering you on?
We worked really hard, and we got a little bit lucky because North Korea withdrew from the competition, and that clearly put a lot less pressure on us. And we made it to the final against Guam, and the atmosphere was amazing. 8,000 people came in to watch us, and we were very glad that we gave them the show they were expecting. And winning 5-0, I wouldn't say it was a very, very easy game, but the fans coming in surely made it a lot easier than it was.
What about you, Nicholas? Not counting the friendly match in October last year, the EAF E1 was your first tournament representing Hong Kong, China. How do you feel about being able to score 2 goals in 3 games?
Firstly, I'm very happy to contribute to the team. So it's really a dream come true to represent the Hong Kong, China team, and I feel proud and honored to representing to the badge.
I guess a newcomer on the team. Was it a lot of pressure representing Hong Kong?
Pressure is a normal thing in football. It's the way how you deal with it. So for me, it's of course first tournament debut. I told myself this is a normal part of football. In the end, I scored 2 goals in 3 games, and yeah, I'm very happy with myself.
So what was the fans' reactions to your debut?
Of course, you have these home fans chanting your name, and there's really good feelings. They're really loud as well. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, hearing it, the real deal must be such an overwhelming feeling, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. And, speaking of stress or pressure, you guys will be facing Asia's best at the finals in July. So how are the preparations going, and what are your expectations?
Oh, right now, we're still a little bit far from July. There's a lot of local games going on, and there'll be 1 or 2 more international windows before we head to Korea in July. For sure, we know we are going to the right direction. We've won 6 or 7 games in a row internationally for Hong Kong. And we're building a very strong team, with people like Nico, who are new and fresh, who bring in a new vibe, for old comers like me who are a little bit old. They come in and they build a new competition for us, and they're pushing the team, and hopefully, in between the coming half a year, we're going to build an even stronger team.
It sounds like the senior team members are pretty friendly to the newcomers, right? The oldcomers are pretty, helpful as well, right?
Yeah. We had a bit of a change in September, October, where a new coach came in. Since Ashley Westwood came in, the new coach, we have adapted really well. All my team is really professional. We've been following his new plan, his new tactics, and along with the HKFA crew and the backroom staff, we've really pushed ourselves to a new limit.
I'm just very curious as to, what are the new strategies that, really contributed to the solid performance that you guys are experiencing right now?
Yeah, well, I dare not to say too much about the secret weapon. Our little plans behind the scene, but
right.
I could tell you right now, we are more confident with the ball. We don't defend really deep and let teams come and attack, and we play counterattacks. We don't do that. We try to dominate the game, and we try to utilize all our attacking options. And we try to dominate, again, possession-wise, and we try to make every shot on target count. And of course, to how that is done is a different topic.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. Not even I know myself.
I'm just curious to know, what other kinds of support do you think the team needs?
I think it'll be more support on the players, externally, more resources from the government, I would say. Supporting their whole career path has always been a topic of limited protection for us. Can we give our whole 15, 14 years career to football and be guaranteed a safe way after? That's the question for me, especially for a person of my age.
Philip, you went to Brazil when you were 14 and joined the youth academy of the famous club Grêmio, which a number of notable players have played for. Now, back then, not many local young footballers had the opportunity to train abroad. So why did your parents let you go to Brazil, and what did you learn during the time there?
My dad himself was an athlete, so he had the similar background. He gave he didn't really mind me going abroad to sports career try. He gave me that opportunity, and then I took it, and I went there for a year and maybe a year and a half, from what I remember, and gave me a complete different perspective on football. Looking back right now, it really turned me from a kid to a man. In Brazil, people only had one dream, and that was to become a football player. Like great players like Ronaldinho and like maybe a handful of them right now are still superstars, you know. They only had one dream back then, and that was to become a professional football player playing in Europe, playing in some of the best leagues in the world. And they sacrificed everything, they gave everything to become that. And that inspired me a lot, and that changed me completely, and that told me what I had to do to become an athlete.
Now, having been a professional footballer for over a decade, how has the development of Hong Kong's football scene changed over the years from your perspective?
One day, if you came in to watch the Hong Kong-China play, you would feel the vibe going to the rooftop, because like we have nearly 10,000 people coming in to watch our games, you know, probably attendance-wise, I would say one of the most prominent sports in Hong Kong. But if you talk about the whole environment, if you talk about players, again, players, how would I call it, recognition, and in terms of respect, it hasn't gone that high.
I'm assuming, having a new stadium in Kai Tak, of that scale, that might be something that's helpful?
Yeah,
Could it be?
It could be, yeah, I hope it will be. The new Kai Tak complex, I do have a lot of expectations for it, first of all. Not only playing there myself, it's a very beautiful stadium, but I hope it really brings in a whole new sense of dynamic to how people
enjoy sports.
Enjoy and appreciate sports, you know. So right now, I know that football is definitely one of the most popular sports in the world. You talk about the Premier League, you talk about Barcelona, La Liga, everything. And I would really hope Kai Tak could transfer that topic into Hong Kong football too. I would say, again, like, I don't know what else we can do apart from giving in our best performances,
There you go. I mean, show up at the stadium to cheer for our team. That's one of the minimal ways that we can support the team, right?
Yes, can't agree more. Nicholas, you have Chilean and Bolivian heritage, but you were actually born and raised in Hong Kong. Now, I understand that your father came here to work as a football coach. So is that one of the reasons why you became interested in the sport? And as someone with a South American background, what do you think about the football scene in Hong Kong?
To be honest, my dad came here to Hong Kong is for a better life, and then also to become a football coach, and then that led me to have interest in football. You could say the typical story. He would bring me to the park and play football with my other brothers. So that led me to have so much love and passion for it.
You recently surrendered your Chilean passport to obtain a Hong Kong China passport. What led you to make this decision?
It was really hard decision to make. I was accounted as a foreigner, so in order to have a Hong Kong passport, you had to be a local player, like naturalized. So, and I couldn't that time, so I had to sometimes train on my own, or just find a way. Maybe within a few years, I could make my own decision. So after maybe when I was 20, I could finally make my own decision. And I told my parents, this is what I want to do. I wanted to change my passport and then start my career here in Hong Kong. And they really supported me.
It really shows his commitment in Hong Kong. So how did you feel when you were called up to the Hong Kong squad for the first time last year?
When I first got called up, I was really happy, and also a bit of nervous.
Of course.
Just this nervous, like, what if that questions. But I said to myself, it's just focus on the present and then see how it goes, and then how much you can go further, how much you can go far,
The Football Association of Hong Kong China has been actively supporting the local development of the sport by setting up matches with different teams, both at home and abroad, as well as vigorously promoting the youth leagues. What other areas do you think can be enhanced further? Perhaps Philip?
You know, I don't want to make myself sound very like an old person, you know. But,
Why?
again, I mean,
Too late.
I mean, right now what they've been doing are much appreciated. You know, they've been with very limited resources, I would say, or restricted resources. They're doing the best they can. You know, as a whole ecosystem. You know, if that's something I could call it, is a whole cycle. You know, in other places, you know, football is like a religion. Fans go in, they bring in a certain amount of money. Then there are bosses who would like to manage it, and then it goes down to the players, and then the players give in really good performances. So it's like a whole cycle. It's like a whole entertainment, you know, thing. You know, so hopefully Hong Kong could do that. I know the fans and the bosses and the players are in place. So, you know, a little bit from the government would really make the cycle go a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah. So lastly, what would you like the rest of the world to know about Hong Kong football?
Hong Kong football is, I want the people to know that it's also a competitive league, and it's not easy to play Hong Kong football, especially maybe when you're coming from overseas, and then you know what is what's the big deal when you play in the Hong Kong league. And yeah, we will hope to give a good show for the fans, and then we also compete with the highest rank in the country and see how we can go.
In the coming days, we can't, you know, overnight we can't become like Korea or Japan, you know, so highly developed, you know. But one thing we show our fans, and we show whoever turns on the TV to, you know, to support us. We are a team where we can lose games, but for sure we're not going to lose our attitude. You know, we give in our very best, and we make our home fans very proud.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, all the best. Thank you again to Philip and Nicholas for giving us a first-hand perspective of the local football scene. So we look forward to hearing great news from the team in July.
Thank you.
After a chat about local football, it's time for a spot of culture. The Hong Kong Museum of Art is currently presenting an exhibition featuring the works of two French Impressionist masters. Let's appreciate some of France's national treasures that are cherished by audiences worldwide.
Cézanne and Renoir stand as towering figures of the French Impressionism. While their artistic styles diverge, both artists profoundly shaped the trajectory of modern art. The Hong Kong Museum of Art is currently presenting a large-scale exhibition featuring these two French Impressionist masters. The exhibition features 52 masterpieces from the world-renowned Musée de l'Orangerie and Musée d'Orsay in France. These works trace the evolution of Cézanne and Renoir's artistic journeys from their early experiments to their mature styles, offering a rare glimpse into the transformative nature of their practice. Hi, Twiggy. Well, words can't express how much I'm excited to be in a room filled with these classic works. Can you tell us the curatorial approach of it?
This exhibition is the first major showcase in Hong Kong dedicated to the two French Impressionist masters, Cézanne and Renoir, featuring 52 iconic works from the renowned Musée de l'Orangerie and Musée d'Orsay. This exhibition also marks the first stop of Asian tour. The two masters, in fact, expressed themselves in very different styles. Cézanne emphasized vigor and geometry, laying the groundwork for modern art movement. Our curatorial team worked with the curator of the Musée de l'Orangerie to develop a thoughtful approach that juxtaposes the classic works of Cézanne and Renoir under the same genres. Cézanne's still life with Soup Turin is a great example of his fascination with geometric forms and perspectives. In contrast, Renoir's Strawberries captures more dynamism with its soft brush strokes, vibrant colors, and light that highlight the freshness of strawberries on a white tablecloth.
And what are some of the must-see pieces? Like, can you tell us which are the most rare ones that audience mustn't miss?
The highlight artworks for Cézanne include landscape with red roof, apples and biscuits, the artist's son, a portrait of Madame Cézanne. For Renoir, you can't miss Claude Renoir in clown costume, nude in a landscape, and girls at the piano.
To further engage audiences, Hong Kong Museum of Art has incorporated innovative elements such as footprint maps tracing the artists' lives, simulated dialogues, and animation that bring their worlds to life. Of course, the exhibition also includes works by Hong Kong artists to reinterpret the legacy of Cézanne and Renoir through their own creative lenses. Hello, Trevor. Well, we're in this space of yours, resembling, I think it's a beach with the smell and the breeze. Well, can you tell us a bit about your work here and where do you get the inspiration from? Is that from the two French masters out there?
Yeah. So for this particular is called Garden Cruising. So it's a series of exhibition that I did, and I think this time when Museum of Art invited me to do a project in response to the artists, then I think all that would be the best occasion to put these two things together, because for this series it's always come with photography work for me in response to one of the artists, Cézanne. So one of the very important selection, the barber. When I make this project, I try to emphasize a way that when you look at people's in the nature, you're also seeing yourself in there. So in this setting, somehow I'm like a decorating a fish tank. When the audience, when the visitors come to see my exhibition, I want them to experience the space like they are in an aquarium, like a fish tank. For audience to take away, it's not only about, oh, you just see an exhibition, something that you need to put more imagination.
The exhibition concludes with a fitting coda, two works by Pablo Picasso, underscoring Cézanne and Renoir's art, laying the foundations of the seismic shift of modern art, inspiring the giants of the 20th century and beyond.
Nishi, did you hear about the discovery of dinosaur fossils in Hong Kong several months ago?
Yes, Erica. I never imagined that such a modern city like ours would have a history dating back billions of years.
This discovery led to an archaeological excavation, which unearthed numerous precious dinosaur bone fossils. The government has set up the dinosaur parlor in the courtyard of the Hong Kong Heritage Discovery Center at Kowloon Park to display these prehistoric finds, as well as to enable the public to observe the preparation of fossils by professionals.
In addition to being excited about this new chapter in local paleontological research, experts in the field also hope it'll be an opportunity for the next generation to experience the wonder of science and develop an interest in natural history. Let's meet these residents of Hong Kong from another time up close.
Do you know that dinosaurs have appeared in Kowloon Park?
We're inside the Hong Kong Heritage Discovery Center in the Kowloon Park of Chui. And we're at the courtyard area. And inside the parlor, this is the display area where we display, of course, our dinosaur fossils and also other fossils discovered in Hong Kong previously. And inside, through the windows, is the preparation area. We actually have three main pieces of dinosaur fossils being prepared. After the cleaning and preparation process, the entire surface and the whole appearance of the fossils themselves would be revealed. And what we want to try is to connect them back together. And what we're looking for is a complete or more intact edge of the bone fossil. We'll try to identify which part of the body of the dinosaur that the bone is from. And that's the key to identifying the type of the dinosaur. Aside from the dinosaur fossils, we also have other fossils previously discovered in Hong Kong, and they include both animals and plant fossils. For animals, we have the ostracods and the ammonites. And for the plants, they're mainly from the dinosaur age, so from the Jurassic and the Cretaceous. And we have cycads and ferns for the plant fossils. So what we're doing in the display is to give an overview of the richness of Hong Kong's prehistoric life and the fossils that were discovered throughout the area. And mainly with the plants, we can try to construct the age of the dinosaurs and what the paleo environment was like in Hong Kong back in the days. We discovered Hong Kong's first set of dinosaur fossils last year, and it was the 200th anniversary of dinosaur research, so it was really timely, and I think the public of Hong Kong was very excited about the discovery. So we wanted to set up the display to share the findings and of course to have people have a close look of something that might be quite rare to see in museums in Hong Kong. That is the preparation of real dinosaur fossils and to construct the paleo environment of Hong Kong and to have people take a glimpse into days that are really far back. And also to introduce the topic of fossils, of dinosaurs and paleontology, and also to try to spark questions or conversations of how Hong Kong's dinosaur actually can relate to the dinosaurs discovered in surrounding areas in China, because China is actually the country with the most amount of species of dinosaurs discovered. It's very rich in fossil record, and Hong Kong is very fortunate to played a part in it.
It's truly incredible to learn that traces of dinosaurs have been found in a densely populated city such as ours. Paleontologist Professor Michael Pittman is here to dig deeper into this discovery as well as his line of work with us. Welcome to Vibrant Hong Kong. Now, I'm sure that our viewers can't wait to find out more about the dinosaur fossils found on Port Island. So, Mike, what species and era are these fossils from?
So we know that the fossils are dinosaurs because part of the fossils were taken to Beijing, where a colleague of mine cut them. And if you look at the structure of the fossil bone, dinosaurs have a very particular structure. So that's how we know that they're dinosaurs. But exactly what type of dinosaur, what species, we need to do follow-up work, more research. But we do know from looking at the type of rocks that they're in, their color, what we know about the wider region, including our own province, Guangdong, that they're probably from sometime in the Cretaceous. But again, exactly when in the Cretaceous, we'll need to try and narrow that down. As we study the fossil, we should be able to do that.
Well, I mean, speaking of regional information, what's the most likely theory as to why these fossils ended up on Port Island?
So, like today, you have this wonderfully big river that brings all this sediment and water from inland out to sea, right? We've got our Pearl River Delta, and obviously that's historically very important for Hong Kong. Well, in dinosaur times, you had big river systems like that as well, carrying sediment, carrying water out to sea. And so in Port Island, based on the geology, we can see that it came from a very energetic environment, and it was deposited in large pieces, all mixed up, suggesting it was probably from some sort of large river. So brought from where it died further upstream to its final resting place in what is now Hong Kong, broken up into pieces because it had traveled a long way before it laid to rest.
I mean, that sounds like a dream come true for someone who's been there for so many times, but never discovered anything before, right?
Yes, definitely. What was your reaction when you first found it in Hong Kong?
Well, very excited because I grew up here and I knew that Hong Kong had lots of dinosaur-era rocks. So particularly we have Jurassic rocks and Cretaceous rocks.
Wow.
But most of them are volcanic rocks. Normally, we go to areas that are extremely large with lots and lots of exposure, so like deserts and things. So to find it in Hong Kong, which is, you know, half of
it's very convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. I can imagine how exciting that would be. And it's in Hong Kong. Hong Kong.
In our home.
Yes. Okay, so say we found the fossil. we have it at hand now.
Yeah.
So what other processes take place after the fossils are excavated? And what are the key areas of interest from the research standpoint?
Sure. So we take the rocks out, and we typically take them out in large blocks because we want to do the detailed work of liberating each little bone in the comfort and security of a lab setting. So what typically happens, and in this case in Hong Kong, there are large blocks with bits of bone in it that are removed and taken back to the lab. And then there's a slow, careful process of trying to liberate the fossils from the rock. So that's step one, because you can only study the fossils once you have all the information available. There are other tricks you can use. You can use X-ray imaging, CT imaging we call it, to try and get information inside the bones. But step one is actually getting the material out and then beginning the process of studying it. So there needs to be a bit of patience at that first step, but we're very excited.
Wow, there's such long preparation work to do before you can jump right into the fossils, right?
Yeah.
So how will this latest discovery help advance future research, though?
Yeah, so Hong Kong now is pretty much the most southern point of China. And in dinosaur times, in the Cretaceous period, Hong Kong was also very south in what is now China. So we know a lot about dinosaurs from the rest of China because China is actually one of the top 3 or 4 countries in the whole world. There's like a group of them that find the most fossils and do the most research on dinosaurs. So those are like China, Argentina, the USA, and Canada. And so China's part of that. And there are lots of places in China ranging from Heilongjiang and Liaoning up to the northeast to Xinjiang in the northwest, all the way to the southwest in Sichuan, Yunnan. And us further south, well, we're hoping to extend that record that way. We know a lot about dinosaurs in northern Guangdong because there are thousands of dinosaur eggs there in what's called Heyuan. And Hong Kong basically helps to provide even more information about that part of China at that time. So it does actually have a role to play in understanding the dinosaur world because as you know, as you change geography, like you do in China today, the animals, the plants, they change quite dramatically with distance. Think about the pandas of Sichuan compared to what's living on the border with Inner Mongolia or something.
Well, I mean, you've named lots of places, different locations where there could be traces of dinosaurs, dinosaur eggs. My eyes literally lit up when I heard that. Now, have you searched for dinosaurs in Hong Kong? What other places have you tried that before, and what places has your work taken you so far?
Sure. So in the location where we have dinosaur fossils in Hong Kong now, Port Island, so that's in the middle of the Tolo Channel. On the southern shore of Tolo Harbour, you have Lai Chi Chong, which is part of Sai Kung. That has Jurassic rocks that we think belong to ancient lakes. And we found little Jurassic fish there, but maybe a dinosaur could be on the table. Yeah, so that's cool. But the opposite side, there's a mountain range called Bat Sin Lang. And that mountain range is Cretaceous rocks. And that has a lot of sedimentary rock that also could have potential for finding dinosaurs. And actually, if you go all the way to Lantau in Tai O, after you're getting your seafood delicacies, you can try your luck at the rocks around Tai O, because those are Jurassic rocks. So there are a few places, but one thing to bear in mind, though, is we do have regulations. So if you find something, you just need to report it, and some professional will come and collect it.
And if you do find something, don't hide it under your bed.
Well, so as you've mentioned earlier, you've been to quite a number of places roaming for dinosaurs all over the world. So could you share some of the most memorable experiences from your travels with us?
So as part of my job, I have to go to mainland China, go to Argentina, go to North America. But I've been to other places like parts of Africa and Europe. So I've been lucky enough to go to more than 60 countries looking for different dinosaurs and as part of my work. So
wow, such a hectic journey. So let's talk about how you fell in love with dinosaurs. So I understand that you were a huge fan of dinosaurs since you were young. So what fascinated you? What do you like about dinosaurs?
I think it's just to do with my early upbringing. Being in Hong Kong, half of Hong Kong is actually, as you know, countryside. And I grew up in Sai Kung and spent a lot of time exploring it and all the rest of Hong Kong for that matter. And that gave me a deep sense of enjoyment and appreciation of nature. So, going out for walks, looking for animals and things like that. And that carried on into watching documentaries and, being interested in science at school, and essentially that just carried on. And so that kind of interest, became stronger and stronger. So as you know, professors are just super geeks.
I mean, it's one thing to be interested in nature, natural elements that you can see in everyday life, the butterflies or the birds, but, to really dig deep into history and, even prehistoric times, that's true passion. Now, you've been conducting fossil research in Hong Kong since 2007. So what treasures have you personally unearthed here over the years?
So I mentioned earlier that we found fossils from dinosaur times before, but they weren't dinosaurs. And one of those discoveries was a fish that a student of mine described, I should say, some years ago. And it was of a type that you also find in other parts of China in the Jurassic at the same time. So that was Hong Kong's first flavor of, a vertebrate, an animal with a spine from that period. And since then, I've been holding out that, particularly in Lai Chi Chong in Sai Kung, where you have these laminated sediments, it's like a book on its side. And actually, the sediments look very similar to this. They're layer upon layer, kind of dark gray colored. And in northeastern China, rocks of that age find things like this. This is a feathered dinosaur from northern China that's from the Jurassic. Now, I really want to find these in Hong Kong because one of my specialties is how do vertebrate animals with a spine, how did they evolve flight? So how did bats evolve flight? How did pterosaurs evolve flight? How did birds evolve flight? We know a lot from northern China, but having insights from a very far away, much further away in Hong Kong, or what now is Hong Kong, that would be really interesting. So unfortunately, no one's found anything yet, but I'm holding out.
Right. So, Michael, I understand that there was no paleontological research being conducted in Hong Kong until a decade or so ago. So why did you choose to continue your work here after completing your PhD?
When I was a student in Hong Kong, there was no dinosaur professor. There were plenty of biologists. There were people that studied, plants. They would study, shells. There were people that did study some fossils, but not dinosaurs. And I needed to go overseas in order to learn about paleontology at university. But luckily, when I finished my studies, I had the opportunity to return and work in Hong Kong. And I never, ever thought I would return because, as you know, Hong Kong's is famous for being a financial hub and something like that. But actually, it's also famous for being an education hub, and that's something that the government's keeps enhancing. And so now I'm in the lucky position where I've been working here for over 10 years and can say now that you don't need to go overseas to learn about dinosaurs now because we've created that capacity here. And there are lots of people with that kind of similar story. So we have a huge capacity to learn so many subjects and at a very high level. So as I mentioned, China's like one of the world-leading countries for dinosaur paleontology. And being in Hong Kong, that's the standard that I'm held to. So when I talk to my colleagues, that's what they're expecting. And so that's what we've been working hard to do here.
Lastly, I know that you've been tasked with the mission of representing Hong Kong aboard the polar research vessel Xuelong. Could you tell us about the objectives of this upcoming expedition to Antarctica?
On my expedition, which I hope is the first of many, I'm using technology that I developed to study fossils to study ice. What I've been doing over many years is developing technology, particularly with lasers, to try and get extra information from fossils. Call it laziness or whatever, but it's about trying to answer your question as well as you can. So we've successfully extracted hidden soft tissues in amazing detail from ancient fossils. It turns out that you can use the same thing to look at what's in the ice. Ice is actually not just water, it's filled up with like carbon and dust, rock dust. It's filled up with microbes, actually. There's lots of bacteria and things inside. And normally when you look at ice, you take a core. But with this method, I can actually look at many of these things across big areas. So I'm basically trying to innovate with technology to add a new capability in this extremely harsh part of the world. And we're going in March for a few weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to make it happen.
This is all so impressive. It's like watching a movie, really. I mean, we're fantasizing about this.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing your dinosaur hunting adventures with us. All the best with your trip to Antarctica, and hopefully you're going to unravel more of nature's mysteries for us.
While today is Valentine's Day in Western culture, its Chinese counterpart, known as the Lantern Festival, was celebrated 2 days ago. In ancient times, most unmarried men and women could only go out on this day in hopes of finding love. This is why many people refer to this occasion as Chinese Valentine's Day. Katie and Vincent are here to tell us about how this festival is celebrated in modern Hong Kong.
Hey Katie, why have you asked me to meet you at Chui today?
Well, today is a Lantern Festival, otherwise known as Chinese Valentine's Day. In ancient times, young men and women would go out on this day to appreciate lanterns and solve lantern riddles, with the hope of meeting their future spouse in the process.
Well, I must admit, I do get asked out quite often, but I'm definitely impressed by your directness.
I think you're barking up the wrong tree. The reason I've brought you here is to experience the atmosphere of this traditional Chinese festival and admire the works of a local paper crafting artisan.
You don't need to be shy about it.
Seriously? In celebration of Chinese New Year, the Leisure and Cultural Services Department held the Lantern Carnival at Hong Kong Cultural Centre Piazza over the festive period, showcasing various dazzling and colourful lanterns of all shapes and sizes. Hello, Chris. Can you suggest some must-see lantern displays to us and what's so unique about them?
Sure. For this year, the theme is Chinese Lanterns and Enduring Heritage. As you can see, there's a highlight of lantern display with a 6-meter tall large ornate palace lantern, along with sky lanterns, lotus flower, codfish, and more. And sharing the same location, there's actually another lantern called Glittering Fish, Lanterns with Abundant Blessing, by our local paper crafting master, Mr. Mo Chak-Kei. The traditional craftsmanship of lantern making is actually one of the Hong Kong's intangible cultural heritage. As you can see, lanterns look like a traditional New Year painting with cute little lions playing fish on the pond.
On the evening of the Lantern Festival, a gala was held, inviting visitors to enjoy performances steeped in Chinese culture.
For this year's highlights, our Lantern Carnival includes ethnic songs and dance by the Guizhou Performance and Arts Group. The Chinese New Year Lantern Carnival aims to celebrate and promote traditional Chinese culture. The carnivals actually serve as a platform to engage the community and encourage participation from people of all ages and backgrounds. It's actually very important to promote Chinese culture to both the locals and foreigners, so as to foster the understanding and appreciation of the rich heritage and tradition in China. For foreigners, during their visit in Hong Kong, our carnival actually provides an immersive experience that highlights the unique aspects of Chinese customs, which actually helps enhance their travel experience, promote cultural exchange, and encourage them to explore the experience and also the history of Chinese society.
Now I take everything you say to heart. How about we solve some riddles?
Okay.
攝影記者. And we're guessing one proverb.
That means
camera, videos,
reporter.
We always have a camera on us, so camera first.
Camera first. Does that mean 相機行先?
相機行先, 相機行先. Oh, yes, you're right. I know, right? Oh my gosh, look. I already have my camera first.
Okay.
Let's take a selfie.
is indeed a vibrant city. Radiating with youthful vitality, it's home to dynamic, innovative minds and colorful festivals steeped in traditional Chinese characteristics.
What's more, it plays host to international sporting, cultural, and finance events all year round, making it a one-of-a-kind gem.
Thank you for watching tonight and wishing you all a happy Valentine's Day. Good night.
you